a design point of view, you got to figure out who might the people be in this sandbox that we're playing in, and then that can get us to the next phase where Mariana can start writing some stuff for y'all.
When I first interviewed for this process, I was really interested to come into a theater space as someone who works predominantly in architecture-independent projects now, and think about spatial production dramaturgically rather than architectonically. And one of the things that I found really exciting about my collaborations with my mentees is that it has really pushed me to think about the critique that we're trying to make being uniform and the product that we're trying to make being uniform, but the methods that all of us are using to get there being incredibly different.
I think I'm getting bogged down with this idea of an installation, because I consider myself a theater artist, and doing an installation isn't totally what I do in theater now. Like, it's not exactly what theater is, so I'm a little confused as to what's happening.
We talked about a lot of different things during that Zoom meeting, including artists that are important to us, the topics that we're interested in. So I'm super excited to see which direction we're gonna go with.
One of the pressing questions is what is our theme of our event? And then the other thing we were thinking about is what is the polemic of what we're doing? And we said that this is an event about the disgusting truth behind aesthetic excess. What we're thinking about proposing is doing something meta-theatrical where we invite the audience to a gala, expect them to come dressed nicely and have a formal space. And so right now we know that the most important character or actor for us is the bathroom attendant, who exists in this other space that is the absurd, is the super real, is this extreme space, and there's this entanglement between the two rooms.
To me, I think my instinct would be something that's on the table instead of hanging. Our goal is to have a very limited color palette and make everything look fancy and, expensive. And it's tricky because, it's very easy to make them look cheap.
We understand as a group kind of the limitations of what an installation is versus theater and its socially accepted format of beginning and end. So now I feel much more confident in that we can create something thought-provoking.
This week in the project, we presented our concept for how we're going to build two worlds for the performance, which are disparate and separate, but mutually constitutive. The first one being the gala space, which will be the primary space that the audience is invited into, and then a secondary unreal or hyper-real foundational space, which we've been colloquially referring to as the bathroom so far. And I'm really excited about the world building that this scheme is going to force each of us to contend with in our own departments, and then also with how our departments negotiate each other.
As designers, when we're coming into a project where, especially if we haven't ever worked together, it would be a tedious process of understanding how everyone wants to communicate and how everyone takes feedback, and the best way to be collaborative with someone that you don't really know. And getting to do that here has been pleasant, and it's been open and exercising how to be collaborative.
Right now we have all the renderings, all the drawings ready. I'm just really excited to see what all these pieces look like with the scenery build, with the lights turning on, with actors in costumes. So I'm really looking forward to the point we start tech.
Since that initial conversation, given space constraints and all sorts of different conversations that we've had amongst all the different designers and everyone on the team, we've reframed the project as kind of like a downtown art gallery opening. What you'll see is a kind of meta-theatrical edge to what we're doing, in which it's kind of become especially confusing of what even is the event and what is the critique of the event. And who is actually playing themselves at certain points and who is actually playing characters, and are they playing a character and all of these different levels of the world that we've started to build. And so this is that main lobby space. We were really thinking about white gallery walls and kind of conceptual art practices and performance art practices that we are both inspired by and have critique of. At some point, actually, the audience is going to be invited to come around this screen, and I'm going to go into ghost mode so that way we're going to walk through this curtain into the black box where actually there will be this set with live video footage of what has been happening occurring here. And the audience will then be kind of thrown into this orbit in which they are now actually part of the artwork that they were just viewing.
Since we're kind of building the show backwards, I asked myself, like, what can each character's relationship with art and how that can be represented in its costume? For the bathroom attendant, I thought a lot about uniform and how we can tie the bathroom attendant to an identity, which is where the mandil comes from, and just to give the uniform just in general some warmth. And then for next, gallery owner, I really thought about if the MoMA was a person, what would that person be dressed like? I thought about someone really sculptural. I thought about someone wearing this like almost deconstructed suit, but still very exaggerated and well-fitting and tailored. For last, our artist, just someone that is kind of taking on the challenge of how many offensive things can I wear at the same time for the sake of being artisty.
I think the main responsibility of lighting is to really support the two different environments. One is a gallery, one is a bathroom in the theater space. To kind of like echo in what Daniel talked about the gallery, this is like one of these like high art, and I think when I think about high art and fancy galleries, it always comes to my mind. It's like very clean lighting, like you can barely see where the light is coming from. The surroundings are all white, and then all your focus is like the products in the gallery. Going into the theater, I think the bathroom is where all the color can appear. I was just like fascinated about how people was able to change the whole environment by changing the color of the light, and I think that is one of the goals that I'm planning to have for the bathroom stall. I think it would be really interesting if we put some like LED tapes along the edge of the wall, so we can actually like change the color of the room whenever it's necessary. This is like a one-day performance. I know, like, we only have very limited time to put up this whole thing. As people can see, like, we're working really hard, and I think we do have a lot of support. We do have a lot of nice people to really put hard work on this whole process. So I think it's just really beyond my expectation.
I'm going to do this. I have to do it correctly. So now I have to find... I was coming into this process really excited to truly experiment and see whether or not those experiments fail or provide interesting and beautiful theatrical moments in the end. And so it's been really exciting treating the entire process as a theatrical endeavor rather than just the final product.
Oh, let's see it first.
I hope the audience finds some of the humor and humility in the show, and I hope that they understand that there's strong undertones in the show that's really commentary on over-sterilized art, and I hope that comes across because we made a show about art, which I think is meta, and I hope people understand that.